thank you for being here in this podcast. This is our first episode of Wake Up in Consciousness in English. So we're gonna get all over the world in two languages, Spanish and English. So we're thrilled today because we have a great personality with us.
We have such a great guest today. You will love her.
And she will give us the 5 steps to manifest everything you want in your life. So stay tuned because this is Wake Up in Consciousness. Here we go.
Learn who you really are. Evolve. Find your path and mission in life. Connect with your heart. Spiritual guides. Learn to listen to your intuition. Health. Recipes. Conscious interviews. All this and much more here in Wake Up in Consciousness. Here we go.
Happy, thank you for being here. Now in English, no more frontiers. Now we go worldwide.
Yes, this is our first episode of Wake Up in Consciousness in English. And we're thrilled we have a great personality with us. And we will have in every show very different and powerful people. So you don't want to miss any of this podcast. So today, click the bell below to subscribe to the channel and share it to all the people because this information will help lives. It will change lives. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. My name is Paola Marquez. Many know me as Padme.
And I am Carlos R. Casillas in love and service for all humanity. And happy to be here with all of you. Thank you for letting us going into your cell phone, into your computers, into your headphones. Thank you, because the information that we have for you, you're gonna be mind-blowing with this personality. So, Padme, why don't we see who is she and
Well,
what she has done.
some call her the Queen of Manifestation. Let's see who she is.
Let's go.
Regan Hillier is a self-made multimillionaire, a woman who has built herself in many areas.
She is a serial entrepreneur, philanthropist, mindset coach, global speaker, professional photographer, and digital storyteller, among other things.
Today, Regan's wisdom has gone viral on social media, resulting in her impacting millions of people every month. Her online community of new thought leaders recognize her as a great advisor on different topics like embodying your higher self,
Developing sustainable businesses,
manifesting abundance,
launching heart-centered business,
mindful luxury traveling,
well-being and holistic wellness.
building soulful relationships, and more.
Regan Hillier has a presence in relevant print and digital media such as Forbes, Authority Magazine, Cosmopolitan, and Mind Valley Podcast.
By sharing her knowledge, Regan helps us remember who we really are so we can align our soul with the life we are deeply in love with. Today with us,
In Wake Up in Consciousness,
Regan Hillier. Let's welcome her.
So here is she with us. Hey, Regan Hillier, welcome to this show. You are this is the first episode in English for us. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. It's so nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's such an honor for us that you're our godmother in this new episode in English. Thank you, Regan.
Yes,
Yes.
really. Thank you. And for us, it's very important because we are in Aquarius era, and you know that the feminine energy, it's very important. It's the energy that attracts, that magnets. That's the magnetism. So today for us, it's very important for you to have you with us. How are you? How are you, Regan?
I'm really good, and it feels amazing to be here and just in the frequency with you both. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's excellent, Regan. So, okay, let's talk about you. Let's start from the beginning. So, what happened? We know that you were 23 years old, right? When you realized that you were kind of broke with $8 in your pockets. And what happened in that moment? What were the actions, the thoughts, the emotions that you were passing through? And then how did you shift those emotions and start taking action? Or what happened?
Yeah, totally. You're right. So for sure, I was a broke university student and I really had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And, I had a moment where I actually was at university studying architecture, and there was a new lecturer that got us to do a visualization process. Now, I'd never done affirmations, visualization, manifestation, nothing before. So I thought, okay, this would be exciting. And he got us to close our eyes and visualize ourselves as the architect that we were born to be 20 years out from this moment in time. And you could feel it in the room. Everyone was really excited about it. And I felt absolutely sick to my stomach. And I just had this moment where there was this voice in my head and it was like, get out. And it's like my body started getting out of the room and I just felt myself running out of the room. And I made a choice in that moment. I was like, you know what? I'm going to figure out, why am I actually here on this planet? And how do I create a life that I love? Because I saw in that moment that I was creating a life that many people might dream of, but it wasn't a life that I was going to be madly in love with. It wasn't a life that was in alignment with my soul. It wasn't a life that was going to be fulfilling for me, even though I was working really hard and doing what society and my family expected me to do. And so it was at that moment where I thought, you know what, okay, I need to answer these big questions, right? And so I started going to Google, because that's what you do, because Google has all the answers. I started Googling
Doctor,
how do I quit my job? I didn't even have a job, but I wanted to be out of the job, right? And so I was like, Dr. Google, help. And this started leading me into the personal development industry. I started finding ebooks, I started going to events, and that's what really threw me into this world. And it was a really big inner journey because I was the youngest person in most of those rooms. I felt really quite stupid for being there at the beginning because I was around a lot of very successful people at these events, and they would ask me, who are you and what do you do with your life? And I felt like I was just so far from having it figured out. It felt a little bit ridiculous, but I knew that I had to keep showing up. I knew that I had to really condition myself to succeed from the inside out. And it wasn't until a mentor of mine told me, like, Regan, 80% is an internal game. 80% is your mindset, your energy, your frequency from the inside out. And then it's 20% all this action that you're taking on the outside.
Wow.
And when I really learned that and I flipped that switch, for me, that's when everything massively started changing, when I went into the inner work. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just have a quick question about it. Like, we all know many phrases, like this one, like 80% what you think, 20% what you do, like the exercise. It's 90% what you eat, 10% the exercise, something like that, or 80-20, the Pareto thing. So, but when you have that information, what actions? What was your discipline, your mind, your change behaviors? What happened?
Yeah, I knew nothing about the 80% when I started. I literally said to my mentor, his name's Simon, and I said to him, okay, what does that mean? I said, what is this 80%? Like, where do I even start with this, right? And so that's what threw me into NLP and hypnosis, and then later down the track, energy work, and then shamanism, and it created, a big long pathway in my life. But in the beginning, I started very simple. I was like, well, what do I have right now? I don't have a whole lot of money to invest in myself. I have the internet, I have a journal and a pen. So I sat myself down and I would go to YouTube and I would go online and I would listen to affirmations and I would find, ebooks on here's how you can journal. And I would sit down and I would start writing out what I desired in my life. I started looking at, well, what is within me that's not aligned to that? What's blocking that? What's stopping that? I would write out the fears. I would write out the self-doubt. I would get really raw and real with myself and write out like, okay, I kind of feel like a failure. I feel like I'm not enough. I feel like I'm not sure whether I can create this life that I'm praying into right now. And I got it all out so I could shift it and so I could clear it. But I started very simply, I wasn't doing like crazy, energetic, very complex rituals. Like, no, I was like, okay, I'm going to work with affirmations. I'm going to get clear on my vision. I'm going to create a vision board. I'm going to journal, right? And I just started with those very simple and basic tools. And that's what really helped me move in the very beginning,
So, dear Regan, I'm sure that many people that is watching you right now can identify with you in that moment. What were you feeling? So can you please tell us what were the struggles you had to conquer? What were your limiting beliefs? what were the blockages you had to overcome?
Yeah, there was so many, guys. How much time do you have? There was so many, and it was like a continuous thing. It's not like I sat down once and wrote out, oh, here's the stuff that's stopping me. It was a constant evolution. And every time I stepped into the next step, I had more limits come up. And hey, look, I still do. We're all humans. And as I'm stepping into the next layer of my vision now, I'm also seeing like, wow, okay, if that vision isn't here now, then there's something or multiple things within me that's blocking that, that's stopping that, that's slowing that down. So I'm always in inquiry and looking at this. But, in the very beginning, some of my big things around this is that I had a belief system running where I was telling myself that if I wanted to create this big, amazing life, it's going to be really hard. And I have to work really hard. And, I had and have a father, bless him, who constantly told me through my childhood, you must work really, really, really hard, right? Hard work pays off. You are a hard worker. If you want to be a high achiever, you've got to work really hard for that. And so I would achieve things even in the beginning of my journey, but I was so burnt out and I was so exhausted and I was living off coffee and I was sleeping 3 hours a day.
Wow.
And it was wild, and I couldn't understand in the beginning that, wow, that's actually a reflection of my internal reality. That's a reflection of a belief system that's been imprinted on me that unconsciously I chose to adapt and then create, okay, that is my inner world, that is truth. And from there, create this external reflection of even when I started achieving things in money and life and business and purpose and service, I had to work really, really, really hard and like push to get there. So that was a really big thing. There was also a lot of moments in the beginning where I felt not enough, right? I would walk into rooms and I would intentionally put myself around mentors or at different events with successful people. And I would put myself in these rooms and I would walk into the room and I would feel like I just wanted to evaporate. I felt like I wanted just to dissolve away because I felt not enough. And it wasn't until I realized, okay, where you're at right now has nothing to do with where you're going. Where you're at right now is just an accumulation, right, of all your past decisions and beliefs and actions, which has led you to this point. And at any moment, you can completely change that. At any moment, you have a second chance to completely rewrite your future. Because you see, most people are taking their past and they're unconsciously copy pasting it into their future. Whoa. But if you stop and say, actually, my future has nothing to do with my past unless I choose to bring it there, then you take your power back. But I didn't have that consciousness in the beginning. In the beginning, I was like, oh goodness, this is where I've been in the past. And that tells me information that I'm not enough to be here with these very successful people. So yeah, there was a lot of work, guys.
Beautiful.
Sounds incredible. And that's beautiful what you just have said, because we have to learn to live in the present time. And the present, it's a power. That's why it's a gift. Because as a gift, we have the power in this instant to create the new me that I want to become, not bringing the past, what I was in the past. It's amazing what you just told, Regan. Thank you. And okay, so you start reading, working, going to workshops, to develop your mind, right? Like studying workshops. That's why studying, investing in ourselves is the most important thing that we have, I guess.
Absolutely.
So then what happened? How do you get to that million? Because you get to that point. How do you get to that point? And how did you keep adding money to your bank account? Because many people just their goal is to get 1 million. It's like become millionaire. I get 1 million, yeah. And then they go to a comfort zone and they lose it. Yeah. So what happened? Yeah. What did you do and how did you maintain it?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it's important to start from kind of the very beginning of the journey, because everyone can kind of look at my life now and ask questions, but it's really important to talk about this moment. I never know. I don't want to know rather what Beyonce is doing now. I want to know what she did in the beginning to become Beyonce,
Yes.
And so, yeah. So, when I started out, guys, and I started learning all these things and I was actually working on myself from the inside out, I started applying these pieces, and piece by piece, my life started changing. I started being happier. I started being healthier. I started different businesses. They started slowly working. And people who were watching me for years now from the outside, probably laughing at me and talking about me, they were watching my life start to change. And some of them started to come to me and they started asking me, and they were like, Regan, you know, I'm noticing you just did this and you've just done that and you look happier and your health is changing. Like, what are you doing? And I started just telling people what was working for me. Now, I never set out to become a coach. I barely knew what that was. I wasn't, you know, I'm going to certify as a life coach and then tell everyone what to do. No, I was just like focused on my own life, right? These people were coming and I would share with them, well, look, in the morning, I do these things. And when you notice you have this fear, this is what's working for me. And I started sharing these things from the internal work, right? And guys, the craziest things started happening. People started coming back to me and some of them were crying. And some of them would thank me, and they're saying, Regan, you don't understand. Like you've changed my life. Things are now different.
Wow.
And I felt this crazy feeling in my stomach, and I was like, what is this feeling? It's not fear. It's not excitement. And I realized, probably for the first time ever, I was feeling what it feels to be on purpose.
Wow.
And I realized at that moment, okay, maybe this whole journey of how do I create a life that I love and be happy and why am I here? Like maybe it's not even about me. And for the first time ever, like I tapped into something beyond me, something greater than me. And I followed that thread. I didn't know what it looked like. Again, I wasn't like, okay, I'm going to make $1 million with coaching. I was just like, follow that. It feels really good. I want to do more of that. I want to help people more in that way. And so I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to start out and I'm going to do calls with people. And this was my very first coaching business, right? I thought, okay, I'm going to do a 2-hour call with someone once a week. And I created a 12-week package. Now, guys, 12 weeks, 2 hours a week with me on the phone, plus, you know, emails and everything in between. I charged $300 total for the 12 weeks.
Wow.
So you can do the math. So I think it's like below minimum wage.
Yes, yes.
But that's amazing because
there.
just started. Many people don't start. Yes.
I started, and I tell you what, that was the best $300 I ever made in my life. When I had that first client
With purpose.
and she paid me, I was so honored. And I was like, wow, like I feel such a sense of responsibility. Someone has paid me $300 to help change their life. And that was everything to me, everything. I think I stayed on those calls with her sometimes 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours. I'm like, we're going to get you your breakthrough, right? Yes. And so all of a sudden it was 2 clients, then it was 5 clients, then it was 10 clients. And then I was like, okay, I don't have any more hours left in the day. How do people do this, right?
Yeah.
I got to a point where I was maxed out. I slowly started increasing my rates, right? And I was like, I have to change something. And then I realized, okay, what if there was a more leveraged way to do this? Instead of speaking to 50 people for 2 hours over a month or something, what if I could put 50 people in a room and speak to them all for 1 hour or 2 hours, right? And I started creating some leverage and flipping this in my head. And so that's when I started running events in Australia and New Zealand. And this was very simple. You know, I started with, I don't know if you know the website meetup.com, but it's like a very simple website where you can basically register as a host. You pay $20 a month and you can set up meetup groups. And so that's what I started doing.
Yeah,
I was
great.
like, I'm going to build communities. I'm going to bring women together. I want to bring entrepreneurs together. I want to bring all these amazing like-minded people together. And I started creating these tribes and these communities. I started speaking to first 50 people, then 100 people, and then some of them, there were thousands of people turning up in a park to come and hear my workshop. It was wild. And it was from there that I would then invite them, hey, let's go deeper. Let's come into this workshop. Come and work with me privately. And I would invite them into my business from these free events. And that was the vehicle that generated the first $1 million when I was about 23 years old. And it was like following the nudges, listening to my soul, and none of it was about me. None of it was about me. It was all about the people that I could serve and help. And I was so excited by that.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful how you got there and how you are explaining in some words how the purpose of what we are doing here, service. No, that's the key word, service, and how can we help others?
Taking ourselves out of the equation, right? So to service, to give service. And that's one life when we become one with the source, right? And that's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, I know you're a master in hypnotherapy, And in my life, I recently discovered hypnosis like a year ago. Our 5-year-old couldn't sleep throughout the night, and a friend recommended this to me. And with hypnosis, she could change the situation, and now she can sleep a full night. You can imagine how that changed our lives.
Definitely.
So I started to learn more about it, and I know you're a master in hypnosis. So I'm very curious to know how hypnosis changed or helped you in your career, and how do you apply it now in your daily life?
Yeah, this is a great question, and you're right. It helped me a lot. And actually, when I was saying I was on the phone with that client for, 2 hours a week and going into these sessions, I would say probably 50 to 60% of that time was actually walking people through hypnosis. So it was really one of my big pillars and my big tools. And it changed my life basically with anything I wanted to change. If I wanted to sleep better, I would run myself through a hypnotic pattern to go and sleep better. If I was on a plane and I was jet lagged, I would hypnotize myself so I would sleep. If I wanted to generate more money, I would hypnotize myself into feeling that was in my life right now. So I would use it in any area of my life. I would also use it with clients in any area of my life. And it's interesting, my method now, my core framework that I work with people with is called the energetic architecture method. And what's interesting is that if people listen to that modality, if they hear those activations, there's a lot of hypnotic language in there, which is directly from hypnosis, which I have learned from hypnosis, which is, in my opinion, some of the most profound and effective techniques with hypnosis. But I had this moment where I was seeing with clients, they were getting amazing results with hypnosis, but it was taking a lot of time. It was requiring them to have like these long sessions. It was like, okay, I can record a hypnosis track for you, but you need to listen to it every night. And if you just listen to it once, it might not work. And so I started asking myself, I was like, there must be a more effective way. And that's when I started actually creating this method, the energetic architecture method, which is the baseline of all my meditations and activations and my work now. And it pulls from hypnosis, but it uses hypnosis to go into your energetic field. Because we have a mental body, we have a physical body, we have an emotional body, we also have an energetic body. And if people aren't working also on their energetics and updating that field of information around them, then they hit caps and it's a little bit harder to move forward. So I like to think of this as advanced hypnosis and also effective hypnosis,
Yes.
where we can get even more leverage for someone's shifting and changing their results in their life, but in a way where we're using the hypnotic state of consciousness to then tap into the energetic field of information. So it's interesting you asked that, because a lot of people don't. And I'm so grateful for hypnosis, and it's a powerful tool. And I do also believe there's even more efficient ways out there right now as well.
So it's very interesting that at the end, you're an architect or an architect
Yes,
of
I know.
hypnosis.
A full 360, right?
Exactly.
I know. Sometimes I just sit here and laugh about that as well. I'm like, the architecture is back. It's just in a whole new different way.
In an energetic way.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And talking about energy, so Regan, how did you start learning about this body's energy, beams of light, all the information about the subtle energies? Because many people here in Wake Up in Consciousness, we love to help others to understand the energy in common words, like in day life words, not like technician words, like speaking different languages. That so maybe the people just stay away from the spiritual path because they think they won't understand it. But how did you connect with this inner world, spiritual world, subtle world, and how has improved your life?
Totally. Well, it's interesting. I feel like probably like many of us, I had a really strong connection as a child. And if you look at any child and any baby, they're fully connected to the quantum field of information. You watch them, right? You guys know your parents. You see their eyes everywhere. They're fully connected. They're seeing things that maybe we don't see with our adult senses, or they're feeling things that we don't feel with our adult senses, right?
Definitely.
And so I had this really deep connection. And as a child, I would see a lot. I would see angels in my room. I would even have, different family members that have passed come and be very present with me. And I would run to my mother and my father and tell them, like, Nana wants you to know this. And they would get very scared and
Yeah.
tell me to not do that anymore.
And that's funny because in the past, people thought that those presents were like frightened and we shouldn't
Yeah.
be. I like if a son talked to the grandmother, oh my God, you're imagining, or don't do that. That's
Because
from the devil, or
they
that's
couldn't
bad.
understand it probably.
Yeah.
So they were afraid.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there was no bad intention with my parents. I think
Yeah.
they were just genuinely scared.
Of
Yes.
course, like many
Exactly.
parents. So
Yeah.
we have to help
Yeah.
them to break those concepts and help
Yes.
their child to see or to learn from kids like you. Yeah. So keep telling us.
Exactly. And so I was very open as a child, but it also got very shut down at some point after too many people in my family and society telling me like, that's weird, that's not good, that's unsafe. I started closing my field and my access point. And, it's interesting. I didn't have something that like opened it up as a big hit. Some people do. They have a big life experience, but all of a sudden everything changes. For me, it wasn't that. It's been like this gradual peeling back of the layers of little things. When I reflect about being in that architecture lecture and I hear a voice saying, get out. And then later I was, years later, I was like, what was that voice? But that wasn't my voice. Like, where did that voice come from? And I started asking more questions and being more aware. And, little things would happen. Like I would be sitting next to someone in a very deep conversation and I'm present with them and I'm looking into their eyes. And then I notice that I can see, colors of information around them. And I can see their energetic field, which someone might say is their aura, which is not a woo-woo spiritual concept. Like this can be measured now with certain types of technology and photography. This is not something airy-fairy. Like this is science and we are frequency, light and
energy.
vibration at the end of the day. So I was able to start seeing these colors and these waves. And I was like, okay. And again, like leaning into that. Okay, what is that? And then considering it. Okay, show me more of that. And then I started developing a deeper connection with my guidance. And I started tapping into different beings of light and different guidance. And I started noticing that I would have either a voice or a feeling like, this is right. Talk to this person. Don't talk to that person. And I noticed if I would ignore it, I had that feeling like, oh, I knew that. How many times to everyone listening where you just know you're meant to go and do that or not go and do that. You do the opposite for whatever reason. Then you're like, oh, I knew it.
I knew it.
Right?
Yeah.
I knew it. And so I would reflect back and be like, okay, interesting. Where did that guidance come from? What was I tapping into? Why did I not listen to that? Why did I not trust that? Why did I not act upon that? And then also I would celebrate when I did listen and when I did trust and when I did act upon it. And it's like, okay, that was a good move. I was following that guidance.
Yes.
And then later down my journey, when I started going into more ceremonial work and working with sacred plant medicine in a very conscious and safe and intentional way, this opened, again, the field of information a lot more. But yeah, it's been layers on this journey.
Yes.
Was there a technique or something that really helped you to connect more in a most impactful or powerful way with your higher self, with your guides? Something that was a breakthrough for you?
Yeah, I have, for example, a lot of processes recorded where people can connect with their guides and connect with their higher self. And it's nice to be guided through that. And it's helped me a lot. And it's important for people to remember that this connection is one thought away. Yes, we can go through a 30-minute process and I have them. I can guide people through it. I can sit there for an hour and guide someone into connecting with their guides. And I always tell them at the beginning of the end, you can do this yourself. It is entirely possible for you to close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, drop into your presence, into your breath, into the now, and simply request an access point to the highest version of you. Or simply request a direct access point to a beautiful guide that's here to support you with XYZ manifestation or solving this problem or whatever it is. And the more clear and the more specific you are and the more open you are to accessing that information, the stronger this connection will come. And as people are doing this, it's important to release any expectations. Because if people are looking for, a white angel surrounded by gold to appear, then it just might not.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then someone says, oh, well, that didn't work. I didn't see a white angel. Someone else saw a white angel. This is terrible. It doesn't work. Meanwhile, you leave the room and you have a conversation with someone and someone says, you should check out this person online. And all of a sudden you do that and then your life changes and the divine guidance starts stacking up in your life from that connection point, but you haven't noticed. You see, we're conditioned to notice what is the same. And it's one of the biggest traps through humanity is that we're only seeing what's the same. Meanwhile, there's all these different things happening in our life that we're not noticing. So we're not creating more of that difference, right? And so if you start conditioning yourself to notice what is different right now. Okay, I did this process. I didn't see a white angel surrounded by gold, but what do I notice that's different? Okay, interesting. My breathing's different. Interesting. I notice that I have more awareness of the sounds around me. Interesting. I feel I need to go and call this person. I don't know why, right? And all of a sudden the guidance starts coming, but are you listening and are you noticing what is different?
Beautiful. I love that in your workshop, the Mind Valley workshop that we're doing. It's beautiful. I love the practical way of how you explain everything, and I really love that practical way. Thank you.
It's amazing. We love it. We are so thrilled doing the workshop. And what you just have said, we tend to compare with other persons. We tend to compare with the collective, But that's why there are other companies like they start to think different. And that's how we start making a change when we go out of the collective and we believe in our purpose, in our higher attributes that we have that might be totally different than the collective, but special for the collective, So, and Regan, so what happened? Okay, well, first what happened? Let's start giving some tips for the people. We're gonna have the 5 techniques to manifest everything you want in your life. The Regans 5 techniques to manifest anything you want in your life. But before that, we will keep walking through this process with Regan. So please, guys, it's a moment to ask you to click the bell, to start following the channel and share this information, because this will help to many of you and many of the people you will share this information. Help a person. It's not giving money in the hand. Helping a person is giving the tools to learn how to get the abundance in their lives, to get out of their comfort zone and start working in their lives. So this interview, that it has this purpose to help others to take action and change their lives. Regan, and how can you explain a person that is having right now an economic problem? Right now, there is passing through a moment. Before those 5 tips, what would you tell them? Like, if you run into a person in the street and somebody's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, and like asking for money, what would you say to a person that is at the street, that you have just like 1 minute to connect with that person? What will be those words to give them the service, the power, the words that will change his life?
For sure, yeah. And you're absolutely right that the money would be a Band-Aid in that scenario. You could give the person the money, but it's never going to sort them into that next level. But again, if we give them the tools, then they can shift themselves into that. So the first thing I'd be looking at is someone's frequency, in the sense of, are they in a state of abundance or are they in a state of scarcity? Because we can be in abundance or we can be in scarcity, but we can't be in both at the same time. And the universe is working like this. We're in a state of expansion or there's contraction. There's a pulsation in and out, but it's one or the other, right? And so it's important to recognize this. And by the way, it's not that every human can get into, I'm just fully in abundance the whole time. I'm always looking at, ooh, okay, I have a bit of contraction here. Let me work on that. Ooh, okay, I dropped into scarcity around this project. Okay, let me shift that, right? So it's this deep inquiry. But if someone can see like, wow, I'm in scarcity right now. which effectively means when it comes to specifically with money that I'm living from a frequency of self-doubt, of not enoughness, of fear, maybe telling ourselves stories around money like, oh, I could never have that amount of money, or there's a lot of money in the world, but it's not for me, or I wish I had this money, but that would be impossible, or I never have enough. And if that's our underlying belief system, then so it shall be, right? If you're telling yourself, I will never have enough money, then you will create a reflection of not having enough money, right? And so we don't get in life what we dream about, but we do get what we're willing to tolerate. And we're living always into our minimum standard. And if we're able to see that and say, okay, this is where I'm at right now with money. Okay, this is my scarcity programs which have been running, which is not you, it's the programs that have been running. And you can see that. From there, you can shift it. So you can raise up this minimum standard and say, I'm no longer going to tolerate having this relationship with money, because it is a relationship at the end of the day. And I'm no longer going to tolerate this. And instead, I'm going to choose to believe that, you know what, I have a powerful relationship with money. I'm going to choose to believe that there's always more than enough money in my life. I'm going to choose to believe that whatever money I manifest, there's always extra. Right? And so from this place, you start writing that out. And I know you start writing that out, and there's going to be a part that's like, but it's not true. Look at my life. Look at my bank account. I don't have an overflow of money. This is stupid. Why am I writing this down? You've got to keep going. How long have you held those money beliefs for? I'm sorry, but most people aren't going to write them once and then all of a sudden they just disappear and your life changes. Like, it takes conditioning. It's like going to the gym. You don't just work out once and then you have the bikini body of your life. Like, no, you keep going and you go again, and then you're tired and you're sore and you go again, right? You keep going and you condition yourself to rewire this program that has been running with money. And I promise you, if you keep doing this every single day and you write out the relationship that you're choosing to have in the present, I'm so happy and grateful I now have this relationship with money, you will get to a point where you write it and you start feeling it. You'll write it and you'll have a moment where you're like, oh, it's interesting. I feel like that money is here now. Oh, but it's not when I look at my account, but it feels like it is. And then you'll keep writing it. And then you'll have another moment where you open your eyes and you realize that money is here now. And you'll keep going and you'll go to that next level. But you must keep writing it out until that deep level of certainty is there, until you feel it, and then until it reflects into your physical life.
Yeah.
Amazing,
You can
amazing.
See
That was more than
results.
1 minute.
Yeah, I know.
Beautiful minutes.
But it will work.
Exactly.
And before we step into the 5 steps, so how did you get to Mind Valley? How did you get to Vishen Lakhiani, and what has happened after you are being part of Mind Valley?
Yeah, for sure. Well, this is another crazy story. I'm full of crazy stories today, apparently. So for me, you know, I was living in LA at the time, and I had a dear friend of mine, Mark, who is just a beautiful human. And I was talking to him about my vision at this event that I was at in LA. And he said, oh, you have to meet my friend Vishen. He said, you guys have just a similar energy, and you're going to get along. And I was like, okay. And he's like, I'll connect you via email. So the next day, sure enough, he sends an email and it says, you know, Regan meet Vishen, Vishen meet Regan. And he heard that I was going to be in Malaysia speaking. And so he connected, right? And I was like, hey, Vishen, it's great to meet you. No reply. Mark replies to the email again and says, Vishen, you have to meet Regan. Like, make sure you connect. No reply. He sends another email. Vishen, make sure you meet Regan. You've got to connect with her. There was no reply.
Hey.
At this point, I'm like, Mark, it's okay. Like,
Let it go.
just
Don't
leave
push
it.
it.
He emails him 9 times.
Wow.
And says, you have to meet Regan. Why haven't you replied?
Wow.
Wow.
And I'm mortified at this point in time. I'm like, it's okay. Like, don't worry about it. He's busy or he just doesn't want to meet me. It's okay. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Vishen replies on the 9th or 10th time that Mark has emailed him and said, hey Regan, I saw you'll be in KL these dates. Meet me for lunch at this time on this date. And I'm like, okay. I'm coming, right? So I end up in KL and I sit there, like I said, I'm having lunch with his family. And the first thing I say is, well, you know, it was so nice to connect with you through Mark. How do you know my friend Mark? And he looked at me and he goes, I have no idea who this Mark guy is.
Come on. Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
Okay, I'm sorry. And so, of course, naturally after the meeting, I went back to my friend Mark and I said, hey, thank you so much. I just had this lunch with Vishen Lakiani. It was amazing. We really hit it off. I think I'm going to go to a Mind Valley event and attend in the future. And I said, how do you know Vishen? And he goes, oh, I've never met Vishen.
Oh my God.
And I said, okay, so where did you get his email from? He said, well, I guessed it. Vishen@mindvalley.com.
Oh my God.
Really? Regan, that's powerful. I love it. Yeah, it's mind-blowing. Wow.
This friend of yours, it's like a guardian angel.
Another angel, definitely.
Another angel, guys.
Yes.
Really, bless his sweet soul. Another angel. And so people see the courses now. My manifestation course on there has had nearly 200,000 students through there, and it's got the highest success rate in terms of people actually rating it and getting results. Yeah, you guys know, right?
I know.
We
Like, this stuff
manifested.
works.
We manifested this interview.
Let me tell you.
You did.
Regan, let me tell you now our experience of having you right now here with us. We were watching your video. We were watching the course, and I look at my wife and I said, hey, we will meet her. I feel connected with her. And while we were running the course, I look at her and say, we will meet Regan, and we are like, I feel connected. I don't know why.
We feel a connection.
1 week or 2 weeks after, a big friend of ours, Steven Strachan, that you know, he called me and I said, hey, there's this product. I saw you in the presentation of the Lumi Vitae bottles that in maybe in another show we will talk about this powerful product. We had this contact with him, and then he sent me a text and says, hey, you want to speak with Regan Hillier because you have a big net in Mexico and maybe you can do something with this product. And I say,
Just 2 weeks after.
really? It was like, Regan?
Yeah.
It says Regan Hillier? And she said, yeah, Regan Hillier. Really? Like,
And here we are.
and here we are.
Yeah.
And Regan, that's what I wanted to tell to everybody, that we are all connected. We are 6 people away from each other to meet all the world. So sometimes people like feel or see personalities as you, or some other personalities like so far away. But when we are in our mission, when we are working with ourselves, being honest with ourselves,
In our purpose.
we just connect, because
Yeah.
we are in that presence, in that power, in the power of the I am, the presence, working with our I am presence, connected, and that's why we're having this interview. That's why I decided to tell you, hey, can we have an interview with you? Because we're gonna launch this podcast. So Regan, it's amazing, and your workshop, it's helping us a lot.
Yes.
A lot.
Thank
so,
you.
That's so beautiful.
So I will do a promotion, but you can go to Mind Valley workshop of manifesting. It's beautiful, it's amazing, and Regan, it's great over there. And obviously, and of course, Mind Valley, it's a great platform for consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah, it really is. And it's also when you match your frequency with someone, it's exactly what you guys are talking about. It's like attracts like, and that happens energetically as well. And yes, we're, 5-6 people away from each other. And then I think we're 1 or 2 people away from each other. When we raise our frequency to a certain state and then someone else feels that, the world just tends to naturally match you up with who you're meant to connect with,
Exactly.
I love the story of your friend Mark. I just love it.
Powerful.
Very powerful.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So Regan, why don't we start with the Regan's 5 steps to manifest abundance in your life? So
Absolutely.
let's start with the drums.
Da-da-da-da.
Very good drums.
Okay.
Let's go with step number 1.
Okay, so step number 1 is that you must first define your vision. And where are you defining your vision from? Is it from the constructs of your mind, or are you allowing your vision to download through you and you're allowing yourself to actually receive your divine visions? So if you get out your journal and your pen, you're going to ask yourself, if I was to unapologetically receive the vision that is meant for me in my life in a really bold, beautiful, powerful, big, abundant way, what do I desire? And you start tapping into the desire of your soul, right? And you want to write it out as if it's done. So not like, I would love this or I hope for this, but instead, okay, I'm so happy and grateful that this has manifested in my life. I'm so happy and grateful that abundance is now like this, financially, with my love, whatever it is for you. You want to write it down and get really, really clear on it. So that's where you start. That's step number 1.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Amazing. And you're right, because you have to declare in present time. That's important to accept it, to tell the universe it is done. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So
Okay,
let's
let's
go
go
with
with
the step
step
number
number
2.
I love your introduction. So step number 2, step number 2 is we then want to expand our capacity to receive. So we can only receive what we have the capacity to hold energetically. And this is why if people don't do this step, a lot of people have a lot of big dreams, but it's almost like everything is energy. So the energy just goes past them. The money flies past them. The relationship, the health, whatever it is, flies past them, right? So you want to be expanding this energetic container through the field that we talked about, so you can hold the information of your manifestation. So a really easy way to do this is we must go beyond what we call our upper limit. So your big vision in step number 1, the one that's like so big, it's what your soul desires, it probably couldn't get any bigger and more amazing than that. For step number 2, you want to go, okay, if that was already done, if you woke up tomorrow and you opened your eyes and that big vision that you were dreaming about was your current reality and you were living into it, then what would your next vision be? And when people ask themselves this, it's very normal to feel like, I don't know. I just went really big on step number 1. Like, I don't even know what's next. But you must lean into that that uncomfortability and allow yourself to start expanding past that limit, right? So what happens is that, let's say someone's looking to, for example, manifest $10,000, right? $10,000 a month. And they get very close to the $10,000, and then the whole universe says, whoa, stop. You're about to hit that big vision. You don't know what's next. You might die. You might fall off a cliff. That $10,000 might be really bad for you, so I'm going to make sure you don't hit it. And so we hit this cap, right? So if we go beyond this and we say, okay, unconscious reality, $10,000 a month, but guess what? After that, it's really good. There's $15,000 a month. And even that is safe and amazing and awesome. And it's going to allow you to do X, Y, Z with your life. And so you start expanding beyond that. So when you come close to the 10,000, that just becomes a stepping stone for the next layer. And your unconscious system feels safe and it expands into the vision beyond the vision. So again, for step number 2, ask yourself, if that big vision from step number 1 was done, what would that next layer be? And again, write it out in the present as well.
Amazing.
I love this stuff. Yes.
I love the vision
Life-changing.
beyond the vision.
Yes.
It's amazing. I love it. Okay, let's go for
With
the step
number
number
3.
3.
Okay, so for step number 3, it's very normal now for all of our humanness to come up. We've just expanded into this vision beyond the vision. It's really big. Maybe it's bigger than anything you've dreamt into before. And so it's very natural for the fear, the self-doubt, the limiting constructs, the worry, the not enoughness, for all of that to come up. But you've got to remember that you're driving the car towards where you desire to go. And you're driving, you can see the vision beyond the vision, and you're steering the ship, right? But you have all these limits in the back seat that we all have. Now, you choose whether these limits at this point take over, and whether you say, it's too much fear, too much worry, I'm doubting too much, I don't even want the vision. And that's where people tap out and they just stop, right? Or you understand that all of these limits are here to keep you safe, and you are the alchemist that you've been looking for. And you can alchemize these limits from lead into gold. And so to do this, ask yourself again in your journal, if you were to know what is currently blocking you, stopping you, slowing you down, or holding you back. And get really real with it. Be like, I'm scared about this, right? And I'm worried about that. And I feel that I'm not good enough for that. And I think it's going to take a whole lot of time. And I don't know anyone else who's done it. So how could I do it? And just write it all out. Like, purge it out. It's literally a purge onto this piece of paper. And then from there, if you like, you can rip the page away and do what you like with it. But you're going to energetically choose, I no longer tolerate that. You're going to choose, okay, these are the constructs that have got me to here. but I'm shifting them now into realizing that they're just trying to keep me safe. But I am safe. I'm the driver of the car. I'm going to the vision beyond the vision, and it's good. And so you start to clear that out. Now you can burn the piece of paper. Please burn responsibly if you're doing this, if you're lighting fires, right? Or you can just tear it out, or you can just simply look at it and be like, I no longer tolerate that. But we want to make sure that you go into this alchemy. So what is stopping you, blocking you, slowing you down, holding you back from really having that vision right here, right now, and then get really raw and real with that so you can release it.
Beautiful.
Great. So let's go to the step
Number
number 4.
So step number 4 is important. It's an accelerator, right? If people just do these 3 steps, they're very far on their way to manifesting the abundance they desire. So for step number 4, we've got to remember that we don't necessarily get in life what we do, but we do get who we choose to be. Because if everyone just doing a lot was successful, then they would be working really hard and have everything they want in their life, but it's not the case. And in fact, many successful people are actually doing less, but they're receiving more. Why is that? Because their beingness is different. They're embodying a different version of them. So we talked about this. We talked about connecting to the highest essence of you. Time is an illusion, and we can choose to tap now across time and space into the highest version of yourself. And again, you can, like we talked about, sit down, close your eyes, and say, okay, I choose to connect with the highest version of me right now, the version of me out in my future that's already manifested all the abundance that I desire. And it's almost like an interview. You're going to interview your higher self and ask them, okay, this version of me that's already done it, that already has it, that's already living into it, how do I walk? How do I talk? How do I think? How do I act? What do I say yes to? What do I say no to? What do I no longer tolerate? What do I boldly move away from in my life? What kind of people are around me? What kind of service and contribution do I contribute to the world? How do I eat? How do I move my body? What is my family like? Like, get really clear and detailed on every little detail, because all of it is a frequency. And you want to write it down, and you're not crafting this from your ego, you're receiving this from your future. So instead of waiting out the time to eventually just grow into that version of you, you're tapping across time and space, and you're allowing that version of you to come into now so you can embody it, and you can walk and talk and think and act from this place, right? And so as you craft that vision, as you write it down, as you're like, oh, I receive all of that information, you're going to choose to then be from that place. And in any moment you can say, well, what would the highest version of me do? Who would they hire? Who would they be around? What would they say yes to? Okay, I need to go left or right. What would the highest version of me, which direction would I go in, right? And you're making choices and action steps from that frequency.
Beautiful.
Right.
I love it. In the workshops that we teach, that we've been teaching for 12 years, to connect with the higher self, that is one advice that we also give. Like, your higher self can tell you from yourself from the future, what advice can he or she give you? And I love the way you apply it.
Definitely. It's amazing. And it's connecting the higher self. It's watching all the frames of the movie from the beginning, the end, over all of our lives. It's
life
like,
mission. Yeah.
it's like watching a movie, all the frames, you know. So that's why we can have this power information from our higher self to tell us about the next steps, right? And we have to learn to listen.
Yeah, but I love what you said, to embody it, to be it.
Embody.
Love it. Great.
Well,
so let's
go
to
to the final
step number
5.
Amazing. So 80-20, right?
80-20.
80% the internal game, 20% what we do on the outside. So what are you now committing to do on the outside? What action are you committing to from here in order to, like we talked about, participate in the manifestation of the abundance you desire, to show up, to co-create with the universe? It's not about now sitting here and just waiting for someone to knock on your door and be like, hey, I'm just like delivering your abundance via Uber Eats. Like, it's not going to happen. Okay. We live in this world of instant gratification. Yeah. And yes, manifestation can be fast and magical, but only if you are showing up.
Sure.
So we want to take aligned action, but from what frequency are we doing this from? Because what most people do here is they say, okay, all right, I get it. I'm now going to go out in the world and take aligned action, but they're asking themselves, okay, how do I make it happen? How do I make it happen? How do I make it happen? And if you unpack that, they're asking that from a frequency of fear, because they're saying, how do I make it happen? If it doesn't happen, it might not happen, which means my manifestation techniques didn't even work and I don't know if it's going to happen. And they're acting from fear, worry, doubt, and lack again. So what we want to do instead is fully back our manifestation from a grounded frequency of abundance. And how we do this is instead saying, okay, I know this is happening. I know my vision is done. I know this abundance is anchoring into my life. I can feel it. I've done the work to align to it. So from here, what do I get to do in order to accelerate the manifestation of abundance showing up even faster? Right? And so instead of how do I make it happen, it's how do I get to speed it up? Because it's already happening, right? You guys can feel the difference, right? In the frequency of that. And so from here, you would write down, you know what? I'm going to call that person. I'm going to launch that course. I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to say yes to that opportunity. I'm going to hire that support. Whatever it is for you, you write out those action items and you commit to doing that. Remember, you're doing it from a place of being that highest version of yourself in step number 4. And you're doing it from a frequency of really choosing to know that this is done and it's anchored and it's grounded in your reality. And now we're just playing with the time, right? We're just speeding it up. So for step number 5, what are the action steps? What are the commitments? You commit to that and you write it down each and every single day. You then be and take action from that place, but from this very special frequency of knowing that you're an accelerator. You don't have to make anything happen because it's already happened.
Amazing.
Beautiful. I love it.
Great.
Because
Yeah.
this is a mind-blowing technique because it's expanding our minds. We know time is relative. We've always known, but now we are also getting to experience it and play with it. I love to play with time.
Yeah. What are the actions to make it, to let it manifest, right? Because when we ask to the universe, it is given. Asking it
It's
it
already
is given.
happening.
It has been given. But how can we manifest it in reality? Accelerate it to happen.
Yes.
And that will be through actions to changing your past patterns or behaviors of lives and start becoming a new person, having new habits, new actions, different actions, connecting with more people, right? Just being present, like presence,
Yes.
in presence, right?
Yes, exactly. And you said something very important there in your language, Carlos. You said, let it happen, right? Which is very important for people to hear because we're not making anything happen. A lot of people think like, okay, now I need to go and create this, but you're letting it happen. You're allowing it to flow through you. We can manufacture the process with manufactured manifestation and say, well, it's going to happen, but it's going to happen this way. I'm going to line it up and do this thing and join the dots and push and hustle and make it happen. And yeah, you might get there, but at what cost, right? And you're also blocking out all the magic. You're blocking out the synchronicities. If you're in surrendered manifestation and you're allowing the abundance to come through you, you're open, awake, listening, and trusting the guidance.
Beautiful.
That's
the
amazing.
highest potential.
There's a praying that says like a person asks the doctor, cure me, but I will tell you how to cure me. It's like, no. Well, I don't think that the doctor should cure a person. The person should know to cure themselves. We must, because we get the disease and we get the cure. But in this praying, and that's what you're saying, like we try to tell the universe, I want you to give me this, but I will tell you how I want and where.
Yeah, to
I want to have
control
that,
everything.
like exactly, trying to control even the universe, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Regan Hillier, this is the end of
you.
this interview, this show, this episode. But first of all, we would like to thank you really from our heart. We honor you. We really admire you because you are being your mission, you're being your ikigai, your purpose of life in this world. Thank you really, because you're helping millions of people with your teachings, with your knowledge, just being a channel for the God to being in your presence and to share all your attributes to this world. So we really thank you very much, and let's keep doing it. We have a phrase that together we are stronger. So let's keep working, everyone, from our
their own fields.
Our own. In Spanish is trincheras, but I don't know. In English, well, let's keep working from our places and keep sharing the consciousness to the world. And we thank you, sister, really, because you are amazing, like spiritual teacher and human being, beautiful human being, because you have your humble. We feel it. You're still, even though you have millions, even though you have companies, even though you're popular all around the world, even though you're in the magazines, the most important magazines in all around the world, and consider the woman of the world according to many magazines, but you are here with us with that beautiful smile, with that humble, that really we feel it and we honor it. Thank you very much, Regan Hillier. Really, thank you.
Thank you both so much. It's so kind of you. Thank you. And I just both love and appreciate you both so much as well. And I also want to thank you for opening up to doing this in English. It's been a lot better than if we did it with my Spanish. So I really appreciate just how amazing you guys are functioning in this other language and translating that frequency. And now we can get it also out to all of my people as well. So I'm really excited. And yeah, thank you both so much for the work that you're doing and such just big lights in humanity, and the world definitely needs more of this frequency. So yeah, Wampa and I both just adore you and love you so much, and we're here in full support of your mission and your journey for you both. Yeah.
Thank you,
very
Regan,
much.
so much. Thank you for being and for your frequency as well. Thank you.
Hugs, kisses, our blessings, and thank you for all that you do. We'll see you soon, okay?
See you soon, guys. Ciao.
Thank you.
And for all of you, this was Wake Up in Consciousness.
I am Paola Marquez.
And I am Carlos R. Casillas, in love and service for humanity. And happy to be here with you, all of you. And from the bottom of our hearts to yours, receive all our blessings. See you soon. Namaste.
Namaste.
Woo. Follow us. Take care. See you soon. Stay tuned. Ciao.
Únete, comprende y comparte.